Welcome back to Shannons Speed Series here. It's the LIQUI MOLY GT Festival of Darwin. Chris Stubbs with you, and alongside me, Greg Rust, and we are ready to go racing. Monochrome GT4 Australia coming up next. We love this series, and we know at this place it's going to be extra special. You look, 27 different cars, 7 different manufacturers. The way they make their speed, we are set for an absolute epic coming up. What are you looking forward to most?
Lots of different storylines here, Chris. Importantly, as you talked about at the top of the coverage here today, we're going into the second half of the season. So how do people approach this? It is a neutral-ish venue. We have competitors that know Hidden Valley quite well, but it's a new space for Monochrome GT4 Australia. Are we going to see a need for the importance of banking, continuing to bank really good points in the back end of this season, and for those that may be a little further down the order, to maybe take some risks? So I immediately think of the great job that we saw from the Audi in qualifying earlier today here in GT4 by Blake Purdy, for example. They've been strong in recent races. What if they hadn't missed that opening round? Where would they be in a series sense now? There are some great repair stories as well. That Gomersall Mustang is back in action after a huge crash at the Ben Motorsport Park in South Australia. So well done to Aaron, to Glenn Seaton and all of those guys. But yeah, there's a few real, there's classes, as you know, within Monochrome Australia GT4, a lot to talk about in this one.
Rusty, 2.8 seconds covered the field in qualifying, the closest qualifying we've seen. You've got experienced stars. We've also got young stars like Caleb Patterson. Charlie Barlow caught up with him.
Caleb Patterson, welcome to the NT. Pretty exciting, especially for yourself, coming off of your first class win at Queensland Raceway. Is that sunk in yet?
Yeah, no, it's I'm still getting used to the feeling of being a winner in a massive national category like this. Yeah, it's a great feeling coming into the weekend. Heaps of momentum. The team's stoked. Ken's hungry. I'm hungry. Yeah, we're keen to get the ball rolling.
And Queensland Raceway, you could tell in your post-race interview, it meant an awful lot to you. Kent wasn't there, he was with Scott Green, so what a cool way to repay Kent even when he's not at the racetrack.
Yeah, that's right. I think I said it in my interview, I was just over the moon. Worked so hard to get a win for him in the Porsche, and yeah, to repay him while he's on a family holiday in Monaco, it was just pretty surreal moment for me, and made me quite emotional. I pretty much teared up the whole in-lap. Yeah, we've had some pretty bad luck at the start of the year with the car and mechanical difficulties, but yeah, to push through that, and the team's learning, we're a brand new team to this national category, and yeah, to get a win like that for him was really special.
And eyes forward now, we were talking just before Hidden Valley Raceway, brand new circuit for you. So what's the prep been like in heading into this one? Yeah,
I'm really lucky to have Dixon Race Academy on my side. So we work really close together. He's actually here this weekend working with me and the team. Acts as a bit of a manager role in the team as well. So yeah, he's a great driver coach, has a great facility at Ormo in Queensland. Massive simulator, great tech facility there, it's really cool. And yeah, he obviously sponsors me very generously. And yeah, we work together quite closely, and the sim work there is massive. VR's a massive thing we do there. It just gives you that realism before you even get here. And yeah, makes it feel real once you're here. You know exactly where every clipping point is, every braking point, turning point, you name it. You already know it before you get here, and you should be on the pace within the first 5 laps, you reckon?
Oh, okay, that's a pretty big statement. Yeah. So Caleb, that Porsche, where are you looking forward to throwing it around and maybe pushing its limits here at Hidden Valley? Yeah,
I think there's a bunch of time to gain into turn 3 turn 4 and 5. I think maximum attack through there is always going to give you probably 210s a lap. So yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to it. And we've got a pretty good car down the straight, so I think we should be passing a bunch of people into turn 1 too.
And your GT4 career, of course, you've got that maiden class win. What's next? What's the milestone? Where do you want this career to head? Yeah, I think I'm absolutely over the moon where I am right now, especially where I come from at a young age. So yeah, I'm just over the moon with where I am at the moment, but I just want to make it a professional career. Show other people that, if you put your mind to it, you can do it 110%.
That is a fabulous story, and there are those kind of things all right through Monochrome Australia GT4, Lee Holdsworth. We're getting set for 1 hour of racing, 7th race of the season. The 6 so far have produced a lot of variety. Talked about the Audi there a moment ago with Chris in pit lane, but we should spend a little moment on the McLaren on the other side of them. Young Kiwi Will Exton is paired with Jack Johnson, son of the Bulldogs AFL legend in Brad Johnson. That pairing this year, it kind of came together, the deal relatively late in the piece, and they are looking strong here. So this is going to be interesting. Let's take a look at some qualifying highlights for you. We had 2 sessions this morning here at Hidden Valley. The first of them determined the grid for today's race. They went out under warm skies. It's about 32 degrees here now. But at this stage, about 25 or so. Lee, you pointed out that at this stage of the game, everyone was kind of warming up, cycling up, and then they began to push. That was cleared like this here from Zach Suter.
You start getting a little bit more brave as the session goes on, so deeper braking, carrying more speed, but the tyres are going away, so there's more sliding, and you have these little moments where you drop a wheel off and get some cross, some opposite lock, I would say.
Some learnings out of Friday, some testing and practice here. Remember, it's a new venue for us. We're really excited to be here for the Shannons Speed Series, all as a part of the LIQUI MOLY GT Festival here. And GT4, every outing this year, we have had a field of nearly 30 cars, all sorts of great marks in the field. There is, naturally, as happens in our games, some discussion around the speed difference between certain marks, but that's the great thing about it. They all make it in different ways around this venue, and it's looked upon globally by the sport after every round of the series, isn't it? Basically, they keep reviewing it right across the weekend.
And we call it the balance of performance. So that's justified by what they see in overseas categories in Europe. So it's set at the start of the year, but they can adjust it through the year if there's a slight, gain from one manufacturer to another. So it always keeps the competition really close.
Your balance of performance okay after attending the Darwin Ski Club last night? We had to enjoy the sunset there. It was awesome. CRC bringing you our starting grid here. This is how things line up for the first race of the weekend. CRC, together we get it done. So Blake Purdy alongside William Exton, Tom Heyman, series leader for Method Motorsport, run by Chaz Mostert, and the rest of the field. There's some unbelievably cool operators in the field. Watch for Blake Tracy there too for Mediki Motorsport alongside Tom Heyman on the second row of the grid. Ryder Quinn, great story that. Third generation racer, all 3 generations of Quinn. Popeye, Tony Quinn, his sons Clark and Kent, and Ryder got to contest the Bathurst 12-hour at the beginning of the year, and Ryder has proven to be a great little racer to the point where he's come onto the radar for BMW globally, and it's a part of a great program there, and has spent a bit of time overseas during the course of the year as a result of that. And the notion of going to the 12-hour with 3 generations all began out of a mighty drive by Ryder Quinn last year at the Bend Motorsport Park, and he's kept that going. They call themselves Thunder Buddies Racing there. He's with his stepdad in Steve Jakic, and they, all of them, I think, have this kind of genuine phobia around thunder. So
I had the privilege of sharing the pits with them at the Bathurst 12-hour. So I got to, experience the emotions they ran through when they finished that race. Geez, there was so much cheer in the garage. It was awesome to see, and obviously like a tick of the box for Tony to actually drive with his family.
Our BMW safety car, the Control 1 car that will lead both GT fields, peels away. We're under the control now of Blake Purdy and William Exton. We're all bunched up. Some beautiful marks in this class. GT4 Racing gets unleashed at Hidden Valley for the first time. Was pretty eager from Blake Tracy in the background in the Lubramax Mustang, but he's semi-boxed, I should say, there at the moment as they go down to turn 1 for the first time. Back to about second gear here.
Sometimes the outside can be the better line here as they exit turn 2, but you don't want to get squeezed out too wide, or else you get shoved into the fence like I did back in 2016.
Sam Paley looking nice. There's still a bit of movement from the Heyman car, so he's, as we know from Tom, he's so good. He knows what it takes. He's not afraid to lean on it while things are, it's warm here at Hidden Valley, but still fractionally cooler from the ideal operating temp for those Pirellis, but he's chasing Blake Purdy, who leads this race from Exton. Then it's Heyman, Tracy,
who's fallen back into the clutches of the American there in Sam Paley. Paley looks racy too. They thought their qualifying form in that car was okay, but the team telling me just moments ago as I came up here to the commentary box, you know what, we're pretty confident about this race. So they feel like they've got a good race car underneath them. And the American, who's been off racing in Europe in between events, he is racing hard to commence this one. Blake Dowdle trying to fend off a number of competitors there. He's down in 12th place in the second of the Miedeke Mustangs. Tracy goes defensive there.
State of the obvious here, but you want to be the one in front in these conditions. In any conditions, you want to be the one at the front. But when it's hot like this, if you're following, the car in front produces a lot of heat through their brakes, through their engine, and out the exhaust, and into your radiator as you follow the car in front. So you need to keep as much clear air as possible, keep the engine temp down, because as that engine temp creeps up, you start losing horsepower. Again, those front tyres get hot, you start getting understeer, so the performance of the car really drops away. So for the leader, they've got a huge advantage.
We'll talk to you when we get to our compulsory pit stops too, and giving you an overview of this race, an hour of competition. There is a window, a designated window that they open for the compulsory pit stops to take place. And some of the competitors that have had a great run of late get a compensation time added to the length of the mandatory pit stop time. So it takes about 27 seconds to trundle the lane here. Your mandatory pit stop time is a minimum of 97 seconds. But for Tom Heyman in the 25, he takes an extra 15 seconds into this race. And then from there, you're looking at the 97, for example, which has got... what are we talking there? So the 227 has got an extra 10 seconds. So that's Cam McLeod as well. And then the 46 is another one with an extra 5 seconds to add to their stop time, the Shearer entry. So around they go through Hidden Valley. This is 2.87 Ks, this venue, run in the anti-clockwise direction. The origins of motorsport in this venue, about 10 Ks from the Darwin CBD, kind of go back to the 80s, but most of us think about the late 90s when kind of supercars came here for the first time. Northline Speedway is just over the fence from us here. There's a kart track, World Motocross, and more. And we're thrilled to be bringing GT racing to this part of the world for the first time. I think it's great for the competitors too, because they know in the 6 rounds, we've got a little something different along the way to go and enjoy and also get our heads around at the same time.
It's a big effort for the competitors and the cars, the teams to get up here all the way up to Darwin from where they usually go in Sydney and Queensland Raceway, Victoria. It's a massive, massive effort, but it is well worthwhile. It's so rewarding coming up here and racing at this track and being in the top end of Australia. You come up here, you don't just come here for the racing, you come here for the atmosphere of Darwin, and you tend to do all the tourist things. You go see the crocs, and if you get time, obviously. So I've been fortunate enough to do all that stuff up here, but if you haven't been here, get up here, it's amazing.
Now Blake Purdy has found nearly a second over William Exton. He's been able just to keep chipping, getting a few tenths, and the Audi is 0.9 ahead of Exton now and Heyman. Then it's Tracy Sampaley. McLeod is looking pretty speedy here too. Best run through the middle sector that we've seen so far, and he sits in 6th place at present. So let's have a look at the Wade Motorsport replay here as they run down into turn 1. We can see this happening in the background here. So the Slattery's entry comes down the inside of the Garth Walden Supra, and that's down at turn 1 where they get back to about 2nd gear, 80 Ks an hour. But that 1.1 K straight, it's both tempting and can go pear-shaped if you're not careful.
He was pushed over onto the inside line, so he probably had a bit of dirt and muck on his tyres as he came down to turn 1. Obviously had to brake super deep to outbrake the car on the outside and just overcooked it. Couldn't pull it up for turn 1. Got onto the dirty line and ultimately ended out in the dirt.
Nice work by Daniel Frugas too. So just, I think maybe used his mirrors and could see that could potentially happen, and swapped back under at 1 to avoid all of that as it unfolded. He's behind Ryder Quinn at the moment. Frugas down in down in 15th place. Race now being led by a second. Blake Purdy over William Exton. Just keeping an eye on what's happening behind them. Best of our Silver Round competitors is this car, the Tough Lift McLaren, in the hands of Zach Suter, former TCR competitor. Runs his own team with multiple cars. They're really busy in that outfit. And he shares the car with Glenn Irwin. So Glenn did a very good job too in the second qualifying session. So both of them, both drivers in this car, really putting a good step forward in qualifying for Monochrome GT4 Australia, our back-to-back sessions this morning. Aaron Seaton behind these guys at the moment in that repaired car. All that incredible work that's taken several weeks to get done. It's great to see it back on track here at the moment. Great to see Aaron back at the wheel. His dad, Glenn, legend of touring car racing and supercars, is here in the paddock and in the pit lane working away here as this race continues.
There's not too many race rounds you don't see Glenn.
Yeah, I love that.
Seems to always be at a racetrack, but he's such a good guy. So is Aaron. They're a great family and been brilliant for Australian motorsport.
Aaron's enjoyed a bit of sun lately. Townsville recently, now come to the top end. That's great. So he's ahead of Aaron Cameron, incidentally, too. Cameron down in 9th spot. And Patterson, who we heard from at the top of our race coverage here today, rounds out the top 10. So nice work being done there in the Porsche at the moment, and third in the Silver Round class. This was one of the cars that had an extra lap this morning. They made the approach, the Walker Mustang. Just a couple little gremlins going on with that car. The Gomersall Motorsport team, Glenn telling me there that I think Ford Motorsport came over and had a look at it. Obviously there's a process around electronics and what you can and can't touch with the cars and so on, but they were able to resolve a tough Friday and a car not running right, and that those laps that they were able to get this morning, it's only a lap or two, just to make sure everything's checked and right, gave it the tick, and they're off and racing today, which is great. That car incidentally down in 18th at the moment and leading the AM class over Callaghan, so nice work. Out of the final corner they come, out of 14, second gear, 90 k's an hour.
We're getting to a section here where the drivers will be really focused on managing their tyres. It's a long way to go. Still 46 minutes to go of this race. You've got to really think of the long game. Saving the tyres, not overheating them, managing the temperature of the engine, the brakes. There's so much to think about there as a driver, but really you're just settling into a groove now. Unless you feel you have the pace to get the guy in front, get some clear air just to cool things down.
I need to double check that. It looked like the Patterson Porsche came into the pit lane there too, so we'll get our team onto it. It's, I think we can see from where we are in commentary, it's heading back out of the lane there now, so just we'll question mark that. Purdy with 1.2 seconds. Best lap we've seen so far in the race is actually McLeod with a 1 minute 10.798. Make their way down to this final section here. It's kind of status quo. Good job by Tracy holding down that 4th place. Paley was pretty racy early on and applying plenty of pressure. Purdy's doing a really nice job of things here at the moment. Look in the background, McLeod with the lights on. Just sneaks out, I think, of what you were talking about before, trying to get a little bit of clear air. How important is that, particularly when you get the chance to do it? 1.1 k's of main straight at Hidden Valley.
Well, the engine's screaming for air. You're tucked up behind someone. What you want to do is look for as much air as possible so that you cool the engine. If you get a chance, if you think you're faster than the car in front, you obviously want to have the coolest temperature you can in the engine, so you've got as much grunt as possible, and use that toe for that one lap and make it worthwhile. Go for the pass on that one lap. Otherwise, you need to be searching for air as much as possible. Manage that engine temp, which is what he's doing at the moment. He obviously feels he doesn't have the pace just yet to get the toe down the front straight. We did mention Ryder Quinn at the start of this race. He's already up to P13. He's a real star. I think he's an up-and-coming driver. He's very young still. And as you mentioned, he's been picked up as a future star. So he's having a great run. He's up to 12th now.
Wade Motorsport replay. Now let's have a little look here. which two cars we're focused on. So Ryder Quinn to the left of your screen in the Black Diamond entry. Daniel Frugus in 14th at the moment in the Garth Walden Toyota Supra. It ventures off to the right-hand side. What's your take on that? Squeezed or okay? What do you think?
It was squeezed. That was textbook.
Was it?
That's what you need to do.
Okay.
If if he had have given him room, obviously would have had the run down through the next section. So you really, I mean, it's a little bit rude, but it's what we do as race drivers. You need to give him a little bump just to make sure that you are the one that comes out on top as he exits the corner. But he had every right to open up the wheel a little bit on exit. Depends who you're up against, I suppose, as to how you treat them sometimes.
Have you ever thought about running for politics? Now, Race Control, Motorsport Australia Race Control have noted a start procedure potential for Blake Dowdle in relation to the race start. That is what they've noted there. So reviewing potentially the race start for the second of the Miedeke Motorsport Mustangs, and this is the lead car for that squad, and Tracy is trying to fend off Sam Paley at the moment as they go down into one. The American who we told you about in qualifying this morning, he's been telling people that he knows and loves back home, hey, this is what Australia is really like, the top end to Darwin. They keep at it, the pair of them going into turn 5, back to second gear, about 90 k's an hour. This has allowed, I think, Zach Suter into the mix here. He's not too far behind, as you can see here. McLeod trying to sneak down the inside. We're going to get an update from Chris, and we'll come to you in a second. But this is pretty feisty here at the moment. I think that McLeod could sense an opportunity there, and that's now a four-way fight between those guys for 4th place. Let's dive into the lane. Here's Chris.
Rusty, thank you. You picked up on it, the Organic Proteins Porsche Cayman there of Kent Quinn and Caleb Patterson in the lane. Heartbreak for them, of course, winning on Sunday at Queensland Raceway for Silverand. Overheating, went into limp mode, so there's some real problems with that car. So that's terrible luck for them, because I had that 15-second success time in that pit stop to come.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, it's compounded, isn't it? Well done. And I don't think they'll be the only ones to talk about that. A couple of people in the paddock have talked about the impact of the heat and what it is doing in some cases like that around overheating, or I think yesterday the sister car to the Lubramax entry being driven by Blake Dowdle basically came to a stop just beyond this corner here, in fact just beyond turn 5, and it was having issues in relation to heat and fuel and so on, and they thought today, after also changing the clutch last night, that with a separate issue, that they might have to run more fuel in that car today to allow for that.
You can see Tracy here, he's put a little bit of a gap on Paley and McLeod. McLeod now putting the pressure on Paley. But you can see from Tracy's driving, he was squaring the car off to get the exit so that Paley didn't have an opportunity to pass him at the end of the straight. So smart driving there by Tracy. Now,
5-second penalty for Ryder Quinn. So perhaps that replay that we showed you before has been looked at, by the sounds of it, with Motorsport Australia Race Control. That moment with Daniel Frugus, and Quinn has a 5-second penalty as we continue this battle. I'll tell you who's coming into the mix there as well is the Seaton entry that he shares with Jason Gomersall. So great work by Aaron Seaton. There you can see him in that, now the red colour scheme on that car. Weeks and weeks of rebuild work. Nice to see them having a positive run. They're second in the Silverand class at the moment and closing in on the class leader in Zach Suter.
It's becoming a 5-way battle here for positions 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mustangs all grouping together.
Now, that start procedure that we said was under review before for Blake Dowdle, we're led to believe from Motorsport Australia Race Control they've moved their drive-through penalty for Blake Dowdle, and it relates to a breach of start procedure. There you go, top of your screen there now. He was running in an excellent 11th place there too. So busy in race control at the moment, aren't they? And what have we got? We've still got 40 minutes of racing to come your way, live here on Fox and KO and on our YouTube channel around the world. Monochrome Australia GT4 coming to you from the top end of Australia, from Darwin, the capital of the Northern Territory. Our first time here with the series, and it's been great. Blake Purdy's advantage. William Exton's just, I don't know whether Blake's had a little issue or is just managing, but we need to keep an eye on that because the Audi might gradually be coming under siege from William Exton here. It's down to 3/10 now. There you are. Our director has just reacted to that, and you can see as well Heyman with that extra compensation time once we get to the pit stops off the back of a great run at Queensland last time out, sitting in a solid third at the moment. So Exton, good job. Is there some management in that for Purdy, maybe with all the extension early on and just keeping, you know, just looking after the car? We've still got a ways to go in this.
Well, there could be the fact that he was pushing very hard to get a gap. Now he's burnt the tyres, because it looks like Exton's really coming on now, and maybe Purdy's dropped off a little. This would be a good opportunity for Exton.
I think that drive-through is taking place now as well too. That'll be brutal for Dowdle. I think it takes something in the order of 27 seconds to transit the lane here, and that is for a penalty. It is not for, there you go, rejoining now, not for the compulsory pit stop in this race. So we've got a busy period coming your way in pit lane for the teams, and there are some really good teams in this field as well, from Method Motorsport to McElroy Racing, Garth Walden, and many, many more. Some very good operators. Out of the final corner they come once again. So Zach Suter, we've been battling Cameron McLeod there. They're fighting, the pair of them. Just see there he's right on the tail of McLeod in the background. Meantime, we're keeping an eye on this. This is great for Exton, and he'll hand it over to Jack Johnson. Johnson did a full 360 in qualifying this morning, got it pointing back in the right direction, but both of them have had good form so far here at Hidden Valley since we arrived in that car.
You can see the strength of the McLaren is in the second sector. The Audi seems to have a touch more straight line. So Exton finding it difficult to find an opportunity to pass. So just applying the pressure is what you want to do right now. Keep Purdy pushing hard, using his tyres, try to get his car sliding a bit more and look for the opportunity when it's there to lunge under brakes. So he gets a good run. Exton seems to have a very good run out the last corner, but the Audi is very strong in this 1.1 kilometre straight. Using ABS, they're always on the ABS here, so it's really difficult to outbrake someone. Everyone's on the edge, especially the front drivers, getting the most out of the car. So they really need to be up there as close as possible, within, you know, a metre of the back bumper, to go for a pass into turn one.
Just on your point about forcing an error as some of them get ready for the compulsory pit stop, so our second drivers prepping, getting ready. I think that's Sam Brabham there, and that is not Sam's regular helmet. He's been drafted in at the last minute, which we'll tell you about when the stops happen, and as a consequence has had to borrow helmets and race suits and all sorts to make that happen. But I mean, we're like, as sometimes happens in motor racing, you guys aren't afraid to, you know, put your hand up if an opportunity arises, and it did in that particular case. The reason it did is incidentally for the 58 of Jerry Murphy. So Jerry's injured, and we hope he's on the recovery and okay. That came out of Friday practice. He suffered an injury in a testing incident. They've done a good job to repair that car, but he didn't feel like he could continue with the driving. So Sam got drafted in. They had to do a bit of paperwork, obviously, make sure they ticked all the requirements there, and jumping on board to share that car. So Sam will be, where are they at the moment? Bailey's down in 20th, I think. So we'll wait for that car to there at some point. Back we go. Just, I wanted to come back to your point there before, just around forcing an error or endeavouring to force an error. When it's so close to competition like this, when you end up with you're exhausting all of your tools, aren't you? So the risk you run is you don't want to make a mistake in that process, but you're frustrated in the same breath, aren't you?
You've got to actually identify where your competition's weak, where are they strong.
Yep.
So that you can manage manage your tyres as best as possible and limit the opportunity for the pass. So it looks like Purdy's identified that if he gets a run off the final corner, he won't have much threat from behind coming into turn one. But then where he is weak, the Audi seems to be a lot more, maybe not as good in the high-speed section, the middle part of the track. But obviously, being a fast-flowing section of the track, there's very little room for passing opportunity. So then, sorry, Rusty, that's where you really try to put the pressure on Purdy, as Exton would be thinking right now, is I just want to show the nose everywhere I can, so that he's thinking, I'm going to go for a pass. You're not thinking you're actually going to do that, but you want your competitor to think that. So they outbrake themselves, make a mistake, you get the run on exit, and then go for the pass.
Short shot there a moment ago, incidentally, was Jet Murray. That our cameras were inside Method Motorsport there, so he is getting ready for when Tom Heyman brings this exact car in. They are the series leaders, the pair of them. They're on top with 76 points coming into this weekend, this round of the championship. They have an 11-point lead over Cammy McLeod and Mason Harvey in the multi-spares entry. That is in Silver Cup. And in terms of Silver Ram, it's Ryder Quinn, who you were talking about before, who has that 5-second penalty, sitting down in 11th place. Ryder leads Silver Ram on 93 points. 24 ahead of Zach Suter and Glenn Nerwin, who have 69 points. So, and Walker, who we detailed before in this race, doing a really nice job over one of the series leaders in Nathan Callahan at the moment. They're in pretty close company, those two guys, those 17th and 18th respectively.
I reckon you'll find Heyman is now looking for a pass on Exton. He's sniffing an opportunity here and can see that Exton's not making much ground on Purdy, so he probably wants to have a little crack himself, I'm sure. So he's probably been sitting there just thinking, I'll look after my tyres here whilst these guys battle it out.
Jack Johnson, you saw there a moment ago with the helmet on, standing by. Okay, we're starting to get busy in the pit lane now. Multi-spares entry. Now that's an important stop because it's Cameron McLeod. Part of the multi-spares squad. David Schramm and the crew there. Mason Harvey to take over that car. So Blake Purdy in the lane as well, according to our monitor. That keeps, as you can see on your screen there, Exton and Heyman, they've stayed out a little bit longer. How important, if you can, is to have a lane that is freer of traffic. There'll be traffic naturally, or in most cases, but just having it a little bit freer, is that important?
Well, if you're following a car in, you have to brake a little bit earlier on the pit entry, so that costs you time, as well as you want a clear run into your pit and a clear run out. That can also save you a bit of time. So, yes, you really do want a clear pit lane. That'll be a big benefit. So, and also, hanging out there for a little longer means that your tyres will be a bit better towards the end of the race. So if there's a safety car, it plays into the hands of the drivers, the cars that pit a little later. Bleeding down the tyres there on the Nippies Audi.
They limit the amount of people that can work on the cars during the stop, and we have some special armbands, so we know that whether it's the car controller there or the crew, and there are restrictions on what you can and can't do, and so on. Very good control racing. So Blake Purdy out of that car. Job Stewart will jump aboard, and I thought his interview this morning was terrific too. He's obviously in recent time, the last since Bathurst last year, shown the kind of talent that we know of him, but that is such a high-pressure environment. I thought he spoke enormously well there this morning too. That was really good for Job Stewart. So he'll jump behind the wheel of that car and should be pretty handy. And obviously, the length of time it takes for the compulsory pit stops to take effect here, by comparison to the lap times they're doing in the race at the moment, sort of 1:10s, not quite the numbers we saw in qualifying, as you can appreciate, but then you're going to naturally get a scenario where people go a lap down. That will unravel itself, but will going long for these two, for Exton and Heyman, prove to be beneficial. You can see the Frugus entry is in the lane. Young Chris White, the Kiwi, will jump behind the wheel of that car. He's rapid, been really good in 86 racing in New Zealand. Some talk that he may have acquired a TA2 car as well for racing over summer there as a part of the Next Gen Championship in New Zealand, so continuing his racing journey. And among the very experienced crew that Garth Walden has assembled on that car that you can see bottom right of your screen, watching on as well as Nico Kaol, the boss of Toyota Gazoo Racing's New Zealand operation, and Chris getting some good opportunities off the back of his success in the 86 Championship, which is great. Hails from Christchurch. Daniel Frugus has been very consistent this year. Was recognised at the local state Motorsport Australia Awards for his efforts in the past 12 months or so as well, and he's been solid there in that stint, even with the elbow-to-elbow stuff with young rider Quinn. Back we go to our leading pair, still yet to stop. Exton and Heyman there. Heyman is shadowing the Kiwi at the moment. Do they peel off this time around? Let's see what happens here. Less than half an hour of the race remaining. Mandatory stops are happening for a number of the competitors. That's the Zach Suter entry there that's moved to the extreme right of your screen. And Aaron Seaton is pushing him hard at the moment. Chasing it. Seaton's almost on the back of that McLaren. So
for Exton and Heyman here, the traffic is not what they want. They were out there hanging out longer because they felt they had the pace. Close there.
That's exactly your point, isn't it? And can't quite get it done in the valley section either. We're up to turn 6. This is frustrating. What happens? Put us in the driver's perspective in these moments.
Well, I mean, you have to be patient. You don't want to take out, well, you don't want to do any damage to your car, but you want to move this car out of the way. Back running car as quickly as possible, because it's bleeding time, absolutely bleeding time, and bleeding their opportunity to exit the pit lane after their pits in the lead. So this is doing damage to their race.
Now Heyman comes in, but the Dexion entry stays out. So Exton, the Kiwi, who'll be absolutely frustrated by this, has opted to stay there. Sam Paley has reacted to Heyman as well. He's come in the Mustang in the background. So Heyman and Paley to the lane, and it's not busy there at the moment. That's good for those guys. In he comes. We saw Jeff Murray getting ready there before. They'll swap over. There's Paley on that bottom right of your screen, up higher there on that frame. Now Exton, clear, finally. But how much has that hurt? And has the decision to come in by this pairing been the right one? We need to have a look at the best of the first of our stoppers in the order is Lockie Dalton, actually at the moment, down in 13th place from Harvey. So we saw the Cameron McLeod entry come in before. Mason Harvey now at the wheel there. And Joe Stewart, our initial race leader, in the car that he shares with Blake Purdy, who did that first stint, that's in 15th at the moment, just behind those two, behind Dalton and Harvey. There it is on screen.
Exton electing to stay out for another lap.
Tracy's in the lane though. Blake Tracy along with Zach Suter. So Glenn Nerwin will get ready to jump into the tough lift McLaren Artura, and the very experienced George Miedeke to take over from Blake Tracy, who they rate in that operation. They say that young racer has a lot of talent. Our good mate Richard Crail, who's off doing wonderful things in supercars now. He and I shared the car with Blake Tracy, the rental car, on the way back from Queensland Raceway to Brisbane. Had a great chat with him. like a youngster from the country. He's got a bit of that way about him. He's not afraid to have a great conversation with everyone. Can hustle a car and has done a really, really nice job in that first stint. George has got so much experience. Back we go to the effective scenario. So now we can see where that car of Jet Murray has rejoined, and it's rejoined chasing the Audi there. So we'll let all the stops shake out and for the timing to update, but it might be the Wallace and Paley Mustang that leads the way. Really good job, Sam Paley, in that first stint. That good work may have helped them once the compulsory stops have completed for Wallace Motorsport. And Jack Wallace, young Jack Wallace now at the wheel. Huge moment for him potentially, and a bit of pressure in all of that as well. Dexion entries in finally, and it looks like at the close more or less of our window here, the likes of William Exton, Aaron Seaton and Mora in the lane to get those compulsory stops done.
It should be a pretty close battle on your pit exit here. Might just slot in between the effective race leaders.
So a couple of others that have completed their stops. Tracy might have helped George Miedeke here. We'll just wait till the final stops are all done here. Potentially Miedeke in the lead from Wallace, then Lockie Dalton. Harvey, nice work too. All of a sudden the Mustangs are potentially in the game here. Then it's the Audi you can see of Joe Stewart. Remember, there are some times that carry forward from a compensation perspective after the wake of their efforts at Queensland Raceway. Some slightly longer stops for competitors. They were great in the first part of this race. Miedeke might be your leader. Jack Johnson now at the wheel of the Dexion McLaren. Where do they shake out? Here's the Lubramax entry. So we think Jack Johnson might have the lead. We're looking down the way, and already at turn one, which, there you go, there's the pictures. They show it. They show you real time what is happening. Jack Johnson to the lead after those stops have been completed, and that is everybody done. So what happens after the compulsory stops? It's that orange and blue McLaren for Jack Johnson and William Exton that lead the way from George Miedeke. Great work. And how about that performance for Jack Wallace? Sam Paley, great first stint. They find themselves in an excellent third. And we didn't that pay off. Hanging out there for the McLaren of Johnson. That paid off. Paid huge dividends. We wondered whether it was going to work. It did, mate, didn't it? So huge. So the traffic played a huge part in that. Can we also give a little shout out too in terms of leading Silver Am at the moment? That's the Cam Quarries and Concrete Racing entry of Lockie Evanet and Andrew Torty. Andrew Torty is at the wheel of that car at the moment. The GR Supra, which had a couple of issues to overcome. There it is on screen there at the moment. It's in fourth place. It's under a bit of pressure here from Lockie Dalton, who will take the spot going down into turn one, but well done to that crew leading the Silver Am class. The next best in Silver Am is Jason Gomersall, who's down in sixth place at the moment. Really good job by them in that repaired car. Aaron Seaton helping to set that up. And where are we looking here in terms of the Am competitors? Now, I was told by a relative yesterday, I believe, of what we've been calling Jared Kite, who competes in the Australian Rally Championship and here in the AM class in Monochrome Australia GT4, that it's a bit like potato, Ricardo. And we may not have been saying it right. I want to double check it with him, but a few people have been saying it's Keat, Jared Keat. Now, if I have that correct, I hope, because we want it to be right for you. He's running 17th outright, leading the AM class over Chris Lillis at the moment. Great stuff there as well. And we have a look between those guys. There's only sort of 5 seconds in that battle for AM as well. That's pretty close. Back we go. So things spread out a little bit here. Good job by Cam McLeod. And there's your what are we talking there at the moment in terms of class performances, aren't we? So good job. That's your class leader in Am, Jared, who picked up a podium, incidentally, picked up some silverware at the last round of the E-Road Australian Rally Championship at Narooma on the New South Wales South Coast. Very different discipline. Has got a bit of an engineering background, really, and he's busy with his motor racing. Ordinarily, in the early part of this championship, he's been sharing that car with Tony D'Alberto. G'day, Tony D, if you are watching. But he's running solo this weekend, so hard work here in Darwin. He's got to do it all again tomorrow here as well. But racing drivers, you love your miles behind the wheel, don't you? Let's go to Stubbsy.
Thanks, Rusty. Just having a laugh here with mate Will Exton. He's been a pro. He's put the suit on. It is pretty hot. I'll tell you what, mate, that was a hot performance out there. Talk us through that session for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, the main thing was just to try and get off the line good, because we knew the Audi's pretty quick, and I think we did that. You know, managed to come out second, so yeah, just chipped away, and at the start, yeah, he did fall that gap, but yeah, managed to claw it in, and yeah, did a good stint and handed over to Jack, and he's doing a great job out there. So yeah, hopefully he can just keep chipping away and bring it home.
What can you tell us about the strategy? You stayed out there a little bit longer into the pit stop window. What was that about? Because it looks like it's worked.
Well, to be honest, I just do what I'm told. So, like, you know, every lap I was just trying to make sure I could keep gaining, and yeah, try to get past the lap traffic as quickly as possible. So yeah, I think we've done a pretty good job, and yeah, the car's great. Team Suda have done an awesome job this weekend, so big thanks to them and all my sponsors and supporters back home. Thank you.
How hot is it in there? What was the message to Jack? Did you get a chance to kind of tell him about how it's handling?
I haven't actually said anything to Jack, but I can, if I want to tell him a message, I'll go through our engineer. But yeah, it's pretty hot in there. I was running the aircon the whole time, so you know, we probably shouldn't, because we might get a little bit more pace out of it. But yeah,
we've got to keep our Kiwis cool, mate. Well done, and good luck for the rest of it.
Thank you.
Can drive a tractor during harvest and is very, very acutely aware of how to get the best out of the McLaren Artura with the help of the Giltrap Group. Ran a car just like this in New Zealand very successfully. But what's been happening, Lee Holdsworth has been keeping an eye on the timing monitor while Chris was catching up with Will Exton there, and that is because George Miedeke is energised. He has been closing down what was a 3-second advantage after the pit stops concluded there. Now, lap traffic may be a factor in all of that. This is on for the race lead. Lubramax Mustang is pushing young Jack Johnson. Big test for Jack here in the Dexion McLaren. This is on.
Yeah, Jack got a bit held up there by the traffic through turn 10 and 11 last lap, which has allowed George to get right up on the back of him in the Ford Mustang. The Ford, I think, will have pretty good grunt down the straight. Let's see how he gets out of this final corner.
I haven't seen Brad Johnson here at the circuit. He might be busy with broadcast and AFL commitments this weekend, but if you're watching and biting your nails, you've got 16 minutes left to go, Brad. So Jack flashes the lights. There are regulations around that too about how many times you can do that between a sequence of 2 corners. So you can't overuse that privilege. Motorsport Australia Race Control will watch that. They clear a bit of lap traffic, the pair of them. The margin is 0.7 at the last beacon, but I think it might even be a little bit closer than that as they come down to turn 5. Back to second gear, 90 k's an hour. You've got a super experienced guy in George Miedeke. He's been around for a long time. His legendary dad is here in the pit lane, along with a very good crew that run that car. Super job by Blake Tracy in the first part of it. And then you've got this emerging youngster who's come through karts. They've made a big commitment as a family here. As I said before, kind of pressure moment for Jack Johnson. What, play driver coach, what do we tell him at this time?
Well, I'm the engineer on the radio to Jack. I'd be saying, don't look in the mirrors. Just concentrate on what you're doing. Keep doing exactly what you have been doing. George doesn't seem to have a huge advantage over him, but it's about 1/10 of a second per lap. So as long as Jack keeps his head down and keeps his cool, I think he'll be fine. Miedeke, on the other hand, will be using all his experience. He'll be showing the lights, be flashing the lights, trying to distract Jack, and doing exactly what he's learned throughout his whole career to put pressure on another driver and force a mistake. So it'll be a real test for Jack here. He's doing a great job so far.
You say often hit your marks. And you're talking apexes, braking points. I know things are, fuel is going down, so weight is changing a little bit in the car, tyres are starting to go away and so on. You have to allow for that too, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and you have to have a real feel for the balance, where it's heading. Is it going to more understeer? Is it going to more oversteer? And how do I cater for that in my driving style? So that comes with experience, so you don't just know how to do that. That comes with driving experience. And so Jack, this is a real learning experience for him here. He seems to keep his wits about him right here. He's focused. He's hitting his braking markers. He's actually pulled a small gap on George, so whatever the engineer said to him is working.
And while that's unfolding, you can see that it's just as close in the fight for Silver Ram. So you're watching Andrew Torty on screen in the Toyota Supra, and right behind him, with the lights on, you can see Jason Gomersall. Now, Chris White is in the mix there in the next of the Supras, but we need to point out he is in a different class. He's in the Silver Cup class. You can see him there, got some good experience and has made that move on Gomersall. So he's not in this class fight, Chris. Good piece of driving, though. Gets it done, and he'll keep moving forward here. What have we got now? Now, that initial bit of sugar, if that's the right word for it, for George Miedeke, has gone back out to a 1.5 second gap. So Johnson has responded really well there. Has George's opportunity come and gone, or maybe roll out of it a little bit and save something for the final 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, that's probably the case. I think George, with all his experience, he's thinking, I might just, I've had a crack, I couldn't get it done, so I'm just going to back off, cool the car down, and then try to push hard at the end of the race to get that back, bring that gap back in and have another opportunity to pass. Now I'm saying that, thinking that's what I would do, but also there's a good chance that he's pushing as hard as he can the whole time as well. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But it does look like he's lost a bit of pace, George. He's down to a 12.2, whereas Jack is still punching out high 11s.
Now, the other Jack Wallace, is holding down third outright in this race, and he's been pretty much a model of consistency here since he's jumped behind the wheel. You can see that car in the background, that kind of fluoro yellow, and it's got a beautiful like matte grey mix. It's a wonderful paint scheme or wrap on that car, and he's holding down. Here he is, third place, paired with the American, who's been a great addition to Monochrome GT4 Australia this year. We love the fact that in both this and GT3, from time to time, we get these internationals that want to come and play. Doesn't that just underscore the calibre, the quality of our series here?
It certainly does, and it's actually great that, you know, this is a well-renowned category, worldwide renowned category, and it shows you that, you know, the internationals really want to mix it up with us.
We were a little envious when Sam was rattling off the legendary European circuits that he'd been to recently, and then he's managed to work the schedule perfectly to duck into Darwin and be here for round 4 of the series. Let's get some news from the lane. Here's Chris.
Thanks, Rusty. You spoke about him a little bit earlier, so I thought I'd have a natter to Blake Tracy as well. Mate, great to see you. Things are looking pretty nice at the moment, second place, and George just looks like he's managing that gap a bit, is he?
Yeah, I think we pressured our tyres to go for longer runs, so see what happens. With George, he's got so much experience, I'm sure he'll be able to just consistent bring the time down and chase him down.
In terms of the way these two cars make their speed, from your seat inside there, where are the advantages for him in the Mustang? I mean, the straight would be the obvious one.
Yeah, it's so funny how much of a difference where he's faster and I'm faster. So obviously we help it be in a straight line, but it's not too much. It's more just coming out of the corner. I think is that we're finding the best. Going in, they're really fast and good under brakes, but I feel like we're going to get the power down, the torque off the corner. So I'm sure hopefully George can use that to pass him.
You're loving this place, aren't you? 3 weeks ago here, Trans Am, a couple of wins. I mean, how confident were you coming here today?
Yeah, no, it was good last night. We obviously had a good practice run yesterday. It was coming into the round. I haven't been at this track. I was pretty nervous. Obviously, I've only ever had one green tyre run on a slick, so we did a few green tyre runs yesterday just to get confident with the tyre, and I woke up this morning knowing I know this Pirelli now and I'm good to go.
Good stuff, mate. Good luck for the rest of it.
Perfect. Have a great weekend.
I love it. He's so good. Steve McLaughlin, who people will know from success in what was the CAMS Australian GT Championship just a decade ago as a driver, and who we regularly see with Pirelli, said to me earlier in the year, he goes, you've got to watch this guy, keep an eye on him, he's got real good potential. Back we go to the Nerwin entry. Now that's sporting some damage, so we switch to that vision there. You can see the damage to the front of the McLaren. Not sure what's happened. Slattery BMW gets out of the way. The 7, I don't know that that's necessarily related. So Jay Murray, I think, is just doing the right thing in relation to traffic. He might even have a problem. Is that car slowing, perhaps? So a couple of things. Firstly, from Jack Johnson's perspective, we've got 9 minutes to go. So I get nervous talking up stuff in these moments. But for Johnson and Exton, their best results so far this season, 4th in silver and 6th outright in round 2 at Phillip Island. So they could be on for something really special here. And we're being told from the lane that Sam Paley was pretty animated when he got out of the car in relation to potentially a moment with the 35 of Blake Tracy early in the race. He doesn't possibly sound all that happy about it. So, wow. George Miedeke, 9 career wins, has equalled the most of all time in GT4 Australia, but has not won this season. The last win, race 1 at Hampton Downs in our finale for the championship at the end of last year. Just as we did, I mean, we've come here to Hidden Valley with something new. The organisers at SRO weren't afraid to do that last year. Get everyone to go across the ditch to New Zealand and race at Hampton Downs, another great venue. How about this young fella here? He has a 2.2 second lead, 8 minutes remaining, resisting the pressure and some good decisions by the team, some great driving by William Exton to begin with. This could be a really special moment for this young man's career here. Not done yet, though.
No, you're right. Jack has done a fantastic job, and he's punching out such consistent lap times. He's doing 1 minute 11.8s, 1 minute 11.9s. George, about a 10th or 2 off per lap. So if there's any time George will be pushing hard, it's right now. He'll be giving it absolutely everything and making sure no lap traffic gets in his way. He's coming up to some now, so we'll see how he deals with it coming into turn 10 and 11.
Just seem, I mean, it appears from the drone shots there, just rinse and repeat, hit the marks, keep doing it. He's delivering at the moment. The gap is now 2.3 seconds, just incidentally 2 on Silver Am. We saw a little bit of vision there a couple of laps ago in relation to Andrew Torty, who holds that lead at the moment. He's 9th outright, but Jason Gomersall in 10th overall and 2nd in that class. Looks like he's gradually closing. So that is a fight worth watching as well. Who ultimately takes out Silver Am in this race? Some terrific battles off in the background. Now, I don't think that affected Jack Wallace because they're in 2 different classes, but I think one of the Randall BMWs going off there at turn 1. So back we go to these 2 up into the Hidden Valley section. Nice work by Wallace, but I don't know if there's more in the pocket there with that car. That might have to just bring it home. Now our early runners, the likes of, remember, with that extra compensation time and so on, the likes of Jet Murray and Heyman, that car is 7th in the order at the moment. The Audi, which led in the early part of the race for Blake Purdy, and now at the wheel, of course, is Joe Stewart. They're sitting in 6th. So another lap down, less than 6 minutes to go. I would love to have just a little like Teams or Zoom window at the bottom of our screen and to be watching Brad Johnson right about now. That'd be great. He'll be nervous as all get out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a special moment for the Johnson family. George is having a real crack here. He's pulled a few tenths off Jack in the last lap. But what this will do for Jack's confidence, if he ultimately brings this home and gets the P1, gets the win, huge. It'll be huge for him. And having such an experienced driver in George Miedeke behind him and being able to hold off the pressure will be massive for his confidence in his career.
He's a young man kind of walking his own road and in a very different discipline to his dad, who's just, you know, a great human being, legendary sportsman, obviously. And I've no doubt there's been moments where some of the learnings of playing in professional sport have been the subject of discussion, but sometimes with kids and dads, they want to go about it their own way. He's gone the path of karts, a little bit of Formula Ford, now made the big step here with some good supporters to get into GT racing. And I you know, it'd be wrong of us, I think, to suggest at the beginning of the year, you know, people would probably going, well, let's see how they go. You know, it's a big step for this young man, very different car, super cool that he got to take his dad for a hot lap at Phillip Island, and didn't that open Brad's eyes to what a race car can do. But, I mean, as you rightly say, that what you take out of a moment like this, if you can get it done, 4 minutes to go, it's 1.7 seconds. If you can get this done, what you'll trade on from this will be huge. It's 1.8 now between Johnson and Miedeke as they exit 7 through 8. This has been an action zone, this part of the track, over the course of the weekend as they run into turn 10. Let's get some more news from the lane. 3.5 to go. Here you go, Chris.
Rusty, further to what you're saying there about the great Brad Johnson meeting the last couple of days, he's not here. He's unfortunately got other commitments with footy here on the Fox platform in KO. So he's at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne under the roof calling a football match that's in the third quarter at the moment. So I'm sure he'll have his phone watching our live stream as we speak.
Don't we get in trouble for that, Stubbsy, in broadcast? You're not meant to be using your phone. I'll guarantee you he's acutely aware of what's going on.
If nobody knows, then...
Thank you, mate. Well done. So it's 1.8 seconds. Back we go here to the early contenders in this race. A bit of talk in the wake of this about Sunday, and they review Saturday's performance and look at, you know, compensation times for those that have some success on Saturday and apply them for Sunday. So in the meantime, looks like Jet Murray starting to put some pressure on Job Stewart here. So this is a good little battle for 6th outright at present.
He'll has a little look there. Does Jet Murray. Lines up a good exit there. Can't do much at this corner for a pass. He'll try as best as he can to stay as close as possible and get a better run onto the front straight than the Audi. Through turn 10, 11. It's just 2 minutes to go of the race. Here we go. So what Jet will try to do here is tuck up as closely as possible on the Audi. He's running the lights, trying to distract him in any way he can. Well, Stewart's an experienced campaigner. I don't think that will put him off too much.
Another great example of some bright young talent in Australian motorsport and showing their capabilities as he runs a little bit wide there. And that just gives Jet Murray a little moment. Chris White has closed to be in 8th place there, but he's a bit of a distance behind these two. The gap is 2 seconds. Jack Johnson to George Miedeke. One thing with less than a minute and a half to go, and it looks like at Murray, is he going to have a look there in the valley section? Sneaks the nose up the inside. Oh, it was absolutely contact. Good spot. A little bit of bodywork coming off that car.
That was where he's strong. He identified where he was strong over the Audi. The McLaren had pace through turn 5 and turn 6. He was a fair way back, I must admit, into turn 6, but he threw it down the inside and made a small amount of contact, enough to allow him past the Audi.
Wait Motorsport replay shows you, and kind of thought about it and then committed, and there was a touch, wasn't there? You could see the... And really, does that start a few corners beforehand when there's the little moment for Job Stewart, and that energises the likes of Jet Murray?
Absolutely. He knew he didn't have the pace down the straight, so he had to do it somewhere around the back of the track, and he took the opportunity when it was there. There was a gap, like the great Ed and Senna said. You don't go for a gap that's there.
You're no longer a racing driver.
No longer a racing driver.
I love that, mate. Great quote. This is a pretty cool moment for Team Suter Motorsport as well. We haven't probably said that enough there. His dad Shane, Zach's dad Shane, is a legend of sidecar racing, both locally and globally. They put their heart and soul into this operation. Flash of the lights, they don't want any little moments. This, I think, what have we got there? 11 seconds to go, so probably one more, probably 2 more laps, I would have thought, because we didn't quite get to 0 on the clock by the time we crossed the line there. Just while we're nervously watching this, we are told too that Dean Campbell has managed to get by Jason Gomersall to be second in Silver Ram too. So that's a great story. And he's paired with Cody Bircher this weekend. I've no doubt that young Cam Crick is watching on, mate, and that car's going super well. So
this is the final lap. Jack trying to nurse the car home. Keeping out of trouble. He had a bit to deal with there on the final lap, trying to navigate his way through the traffic. He's managed to do that well. Now George looking for a way through. Just a few corners to go here.
Doesn't sport have a knack of producing some special things at times? His dad was mighty with a football. This young man is making his own way, making his own mark. Jack Johnson, along with William Exton, is going to win in Monochrome, I should say, GT4 Australia. Awesome stuff. Does it? Second place to George Miedeke. And Jack Wallace there gets home in 3rd place. Lockie Dalton 4th. Harvey right on his tail there toward the end. There's Chris White crossing the line. He'll get home in 8th place there for Garth Walden. And what are we looking at in terms of class performances? We should see, there it is there, the 88. Andrew Torty's going to hold on to it. Brilliant. The Supra takes out Silver Ram. Really enjoyed that. Jack Johnson is a winner in Monochrome GT4 Australia. William Exton, the Kiwi, who's sacrificed a lot and come to Australia for a couple of years now in different categories. That's great for him too. Awesome.
Yeah, that's a special moment there for Jack. And obviously the whole Johnson family. But sometimes I reckon, doesn't matter what sport you're in, if you've got the genes in your blood, you're a competitive spirit, and we see another Johnson making a name in another sport.
5th different winner from 7 races. What a year it's been so far in Monochrome GT4 Australia. So much to take out of that. 2nd win of the year for Torty and Lachlan Evanet in Silver Ram, and congratulations as well to Jared Keefe in 17th and winning the AM class. Whew. That was good. Exton and Johnson, they'll be thrilled with that, and they'll be thrilled at Team Suter Motorsport. That is brilliant. Looking at the last of the competitors, something wrong there for Jay Murray too by the looks of it. I think that BMW has come into the lane for Slattery's and McElroy Racing, a teenager with a very bright future. Among their lineup in that team is Eric Pender, who worked very closely with Greg Murphy, the 4-time Bathurst winner at the height of things at Kmart Racing. So something going wrong there, but they rate Jay very highly indeed. So we'll find out what that was and update it. They get, look at that, look at that. It means so much. He's a bit of a quieter spoken young man. His dad is so effervescent. But I had a good chat with him here this morning, and he will be wrapped with this.
I don't think he'll be quiet here.
There's Willie Exton. Yeah.
Young blokes.
Combination of things. Will did a great job in that first stint. No 2 ways about that. But Jack had to survive, had to respond to the threat of George Miedeke, who ultimately gets home in 2nd place. But a tremendous day for a couple of youngsters in Trans-Tasman Motorsport. Let's go to the lane.
Jack Johnson, I'll let him get his helmet off, but it meant an awful lot. That hug from William Exton. Mate, congratulations. Talk us through how this feels, race winner.
Pretty speechless, to be honest. Yeah, we came from 2nd and, yeah, we got it done in the pit stop, so came out with a pretty decent lead and just held that for the rest of the race.
I can certainly see the emotion, but of course there's George Miedeke behind you, someone who's so incredibly experienced. We were watching him kind of close in. Were you looking in your rear mirror at all, or trying to just completely ignore an eyes forward?
Not really, because we knew the Mustangs would fall off at the end a little bit with how heavy they are. So just keep the tyres in a good window and just press forward, and didn't really look behind.
Well, let's get Will into this conversation. Amazing first stint from you. The strategy paid off. Congratulations, race winners.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great to be first. Jack's done a great job to bring it home, and yeah, the team did an awesome job. The car was perfect, and yeah, good strategy, and yeah, managed to come out with a P1, which is fantastic.
So great to see. Congratulations. Go and enjoy that podium. Spray some champagne. And your silver class winners, we have Andrew Torty and Lachlan Evanet. Guys, Andrew, congratulations. What a last stint on that one. Bit hot and heavy work, though.
Oh, yeah, it's always a bit of fun here in Darwin. I got a good teammate, though, Lockie. It makes my job a lot easier, I can tell you.
It did look a lot of fun out there, though. We did have Jason Gomersall closing in at one point, but was that ever a factor for you?
Oh, we had a little bit of bent steering, so it was a bit difficult to drive through the race, but we're the sort of blokes that'll never give up, and that didn't bother us at all. We just had to push on, and good team, good people, bit of fun. What more on a sad day?
Love a battler in the silver. Lachlan, let's hear from you. That first stint, it was really impressive. You had to put it in the right place.
Yeah, no, the Toyota's been very strong all weekend, and yeah, we felt really good on practice on the old tyre, so I had a lot of confidence going into the race, and I didn't quite qualify where I hoped to, but yeah, we both worked really hard in the race, and we've come out on top, so I couldn't be happier.
Enjoy it.
No, thank you very much.
Mate, bye-bye.
And silver, sorry, beg your pardon. Winner, Kite. People are shouting from the rooftops here for you, Jared. Congratulations, class win.
Yeah, it's our first time in AM this year. Didn't have a co-driver, so we decided to go it solo. The whole hour out there was definitely pretty tough. Probably not the best round to pick to go solo, but we got it done. So yeah, that's good.
Enjoy that podium.
No worries, thank you.
Rusty.
Well, they can rightly celebrate at the end of an hour of competition. Our highlights here compressed into a couple of minutes, but a lot played out in Monochrome GT4 Australia. First time in the top end for these cars, and as they set off, it was the Audi in the hands of Blake Purdy who'd taken pole position that led them down into turn one, with young William Exton, the Kiwi, in the Dexion McLaren run by Team SRO Motorsport, and then the championship leaders coming into this round chasing them. Tom Heyman settling into third. There was a sequence of Mustangs that were pretty hungry, pretty angry, and pushing on, led by the Lubrimax entry of young Blake Tracy, with the American Sam Paley chasing him. Blake Dowdle under pressure there in the background. Race kind of settled into a little bit of a rhythm. The leading three pushed out a slight advantage. Down the inside came Jay Murray, but unfortunately a little bit wide. Great decision by Daniel Frugas to stay out of trouble, let that one unfold. Probably saw it going pear-shaped in the mirror. In the end, the Slattery entry got back on and into the race, but it would seem at the conclusion of things was non-classified. It came into the lane right toward the end there, I think, that car. Not sure what happened. Back we go to our race leader. That incident, incidentally, I think for Frugas and young rider Quinn was reviewed by Motorsport Australia Race Control, and Ryder was given a 5-second penalty as a result of that. There was a drive-through penalty for Blake Dowdle as well. In the meantime, the sister Lubrimax entry here, it got pretty willing between those guys as Blake Tracy tried to keep the American behind him, and Cameron McLeod. Could see Zach Suter gradually closing in and making that a 4-way fight. Then we started, Lee Holdsworth, to think about strategy as a few of the stops began to happen. This was the first to move, our race leader. So Purdy comes in, hands over to Joe Stewart ultimately, but the McLarens of Heyman and William Exton stayed out a little bit longer. Now, the traffic here we thought might slow their progress, and Heyman and the team at Method Motorsport reacted to that. He comes to the lane. Exton stayed out a little bit longer, and that proved to be a masterstroke, didn't it?
This was a really interesting point of the race, and yeah, ultimately it did come down to strategy. Staying out longer, playing the long game here. Exton stayed out, punching out great lap times, staying out in clear air, really paid off. And then they came out with quite a decent lead and just managed that gap to Mediki for the end of the race.
George was able to very briefly take the top spot. Good job by Blake Tracy to begin with, and that gave, with the rejoin for the Dexion entry, this time with young Jack Johnson at the wheel, it gave Mediki a bit of energy. He thought he might be able to try and win this race. Johnson, the son of an AFL legend, withstood all sorts of pressure, and in the end would bring that car for Team SRO Motorsport and William Exton off the back of a great first stint into victory lane. Jack Johnson wins in Monochrome GT4 Australia along with William Exton. Good job to open things here at Hidden Valley. Very cool. And we have heard, incidentally too, as we go to victory lane, and we'll have our podium very shortly for you. We have heard from Brad Johnson via text. I think he sent Stubbsy a little message, and it was yes with a string of S's. So Dad was watching on while he's been busy with broadcast commitments. Podium underway. And Sam Paley looks maybe a little flat there. No, he's good. Okay, he's good. That's good. Jack did a really good job too, Jack Wallace, to bring that home in third place. We have our first podium, Silver Cup, and there's George Mediki, Blake Tracy taking second place, and your winners. How good. How good. Great moment. And that will be worth so much to them going into the remainder of this championship. Race 7 going the way of Johnson and William Exton.
Gentlemen, the podium's yours.
This will be one to remember, won't it? Bit of champagne.
Are they old enough to drink, these guys?
Very cool.
It's great to see up-and-coming talent in motorsport. I think they'll be stars of the future. Keep an eye on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Big, as I said, big commitment by all of them, for Team SRO Motorsport for that matter as well. We're in Larrakia country here this weekend as we recap the results for you. Silver Cup and your outright race winners. William Exton from New Zealand, Jack Johnson. That smile, I reckon, that might have been a promo photo, but we'll get one even better than that off the podium here today. Blake Tracy, George Mediki, an excellent second in that Lubrimax Mediki Motorsport Mustang. And the Fords, I know Jack talked about, where they might be hamstrung as the race went on and so on, but the fact that Wallace and Sam Paley hustled pretty hard, that's a good story to get in an outright sense onto that podium. Away we go with Silver Am now, and as Aaron Seaton gets up on the podium there, well done to Jason Gomersall as well. He's done a really good job. I'm not sure, hopefully he's okay. He's not there on that podium at the moment, as we see Cody Bircher jump up there, and Dean Campbell as well too. That's at the very end of that race, we detailed for you that those guys were able to wrestle second place in the class away. And here's your class winners. Really good stuff. Lockie Evanet, Andrew Torty, and that's, I think Andrew said in the post-race interviews there, just try not to look in the rear-view mirror as Dean chased hard toward the end there. Supra enjoys the success in the Silver Am class. We have another podium still to come your way. We're not quite done yet, and that is our AM class competitors. More good points in the bank for Chris Lillis and Nathan Callahan. Let's just quickly recap your podium results for Silver Am Cup. So there you can see Lockie Evanet, Andrew Torty doing the job in the Cam Quarries Concrete Racing Toyota Supra. But flanked by, on the podium there, a pair of Mustangs. And individually, both of those Mustangs have very good stories. Some unbelievable repair work being done. Great to see Dean back in action here, and Aaron Seaton and all of that crew with Jason Gomersall. They had been busy and on the tools for some time.
onto the podium we go for our AM class competitors, and we've talked about coming into this round. Chris Lillis, Nathan Callahan were on top of AM class with 125 points. They're third today in class. Here he is off the back of, he's been spraying some champagne in recent weeks, Jared, at the Australian Rally Championship. Totally different discipline on the roads of the south coast of New South Wales, and he does the job. He looked like hard work for him in that interview there, didn't it, that he's doing it this weekend. Well done to Glenn Walker too, probably should make a bit of noise in relation there. He's the first to give Jared a right spray of champagne, and the reason I make the point about Glenn is they had a couple of issues with that car yesterday that meant they needed a double check of things this morning with the permission of the officials, and it worked perfectly in that race. So to finish ultimately on the podium in the AM class, good stuff for Callahan and Lillis. We're going to grab a commercial break in our coverage here from the top end in Darwin. We're loving it. Hope you are too. More in a moment from Hidden Valley.